we were talking about what camping does for the kids. And two of my children, my grandchildren, actually went to Surprise Lake, one as a counselor for 2 years, and one as a camper while her sister was a counselor. And they too felt the excitement and the fun of being in a camp on this beautiful lake. They come from Indiana, so they've seen that kind of grounds before, but these mountains were beautiful. The other thing to me that's so important about camping, about kids being in a camp situation, is the friendships they make. When they're little children, they don't realize how wonderfully strong these relationships will be through their years. I went to camp at the age of 10, met a few girls, had a wonderful time, stayed friendly with all of them, and one of them, through all these years, is still one of my best friends. And through her, I met another girl that became a best friend, and my husband and I became friendly with them, so much so that his name is Charlie Weinberg. My husband put him on the board of Surprise Lake. He's been one of the greatest assets Surprise Lake has had. So that you never know where the relationships begin and end, but the friendships are so strong when kids make them in that wonderful open setting of camping, without parental guidance, but wonderful supervisors and happiness.
Joy Henschel had a very special husband named Harry Henschel, who was a member of the board for over 50 years.
Harry was very generous to camp, but he liked to say that the biggest gift he ever gave us was Joy, his beloved wife.
Joy not only joined the SLC board herself, but she also became one of its greatest leaders, serving in lots of important roles, including a distinguished time as our board president. Like her husband before her, Joy has given 2 extraordinary gifts to camp, her daughters Dale and Patty, who now also sit on our board.
Dale, Patty, and Joy have been leaders of camp's capital campaign. Their generosity will ensure that thousands of future campers will be able to come to SLC.
Joy comes to camp every summer. She looks so young that some campers even think that she's a new counselor.
I heard that Joy was one of the board members who interviewed Jordan for the job of camp director.
In October, Joy will celebrate her 50th anniversary as a board member. That's incredible.
Joy, for 5 decades of commitment, generosity, and wise leadership, and for being so classy and beautiful, both inside and out, the children of Surprise Lake Camp are proud to honor you on the occasion of camp's 110th anniversary.
We lived on the Lower East Side. Again, my father struggled mightily to try and keep the family together. But the times got worse, and we all became ill at some point. I suffered from anemia, I had diphtheria, and a lot of my brother and my sister both were ill at times from malnutrition. My mother went to work full-time to try and keep the family together. But at some point my father felt it was best that we all were sent away to places that could take better care of us. It's a camp that was founded by Eddie Cantor, and it took 50 to 52 children from the Lower East Side, and you lived there all year long, went to school there, you were taken care of completely. I believe it was 1930, late 37 or early 38. I remember I was in the 5th grade, and I went to Surprise Lake Winter Camp in Cold Springs, New York. I must say that the years I spent at Surprise Lake Camp were the happiest years of my childhood. I was surrounded by people who loved me. Even though they didn't know me, they took good care of me. I had medical care, I was well fed. I did things I never would have had an opportunity to do. I built snow igloos and had snowball fights. I ice skated on a lake. I made friends. I learned the value of education. The teachers there were loving, attentive, devoted. They made such an impression on me I can remember every one of their names. I think the fact that I learned from other people and people helped me is one of the reasons I love to teach so much, because I feel it's an obligation to pass on things that you've learned to other people. And it makes you feel good when you help somebody else and when they succeed at what you do. It really is a good feeling. And I hope that everyone who watches my video will think about trying to help somebody else. It's not just writing a check. Sometimes just being there for someone and giving them advice and listening to them and helping them in those ways.
When Milton Harrison first came to camp, he was a young boy living under very difficult circumstances.
Milton was a winter camper. He lived in camp all year round and had some very special teachers who taught him his schoolwork as well as how to appreciate the wonderful world around him.
Milton lived, studied, and ate in the main building. The last time he was here, he told stories about the memories he had. There were tears in his eyes when he was telling them.
In 2010, Milton's son made a special gift to camp. He named the camp director's office in his honor. That was a surprise to Milton and was presented to him during his visit.
He cried then too, tears of joy.
When Milton left camp, his father told him to always remember it because it saved his life.
Milton listened to his father and joined the board of directors. Yesterday was the exact 30th anniversary of his election to the board.
Milton passed on his love of SLC to his son Michael, who is also on the board and who plans to continue Milton's support of camp for another generation.
Milton, for your love of camp, for your wonderful generosity, and for your incredible sweetness as a human being, the children of Surprise Lake Camp are proud to honor you today.
I think I was called into the director's office for every director I've ever worked for with some of the strangest questions. Question I got from one of the directors was, Whammy, who told you you could have a pig in camp? Well, I guess, Jerry, nobody told me that we couldn't have a pig in camp, but that's just another one of my many whammy stories. And we all stretch. My time in camp is stretch. I like that. 40 years. And I touch people from the 70s who have been back in camp in the 50s, like Harry Vogel, who's like 1,000 years old. And I've learned a lot from Harry Vogel. I've learned rule number 1, stay active every day. Kind of the way camp has made me stay active. Overnights. I always love visiting overnights. Always love spending time in the woods. That's why I'm the hiking guy now. And great thing about spending time in the woods, visiting overnights, is I always got to build the campfires and get those fires started, because unfortunately some of the people from Brooklyn, or Co-op City even back in the day, were not able to build fires. Learning to grow up. Camp taught me how to grow up. Camp taught me how to supervise. Camp taught me, and thank you, Jerry, you're right, Jerry Mark, how to think before I speak. That's made me a better educator. Camp pushed me and made me a teacher. How else would I get summers off? And I certainly need summers off. By being in camp, I keep making a difference, which is totally soul satisfying. And it's as good for me as it is for those campers that get to watch the Big Dipper for the first time on a hike. Or we're all lying on the ball field, looking up at the stars, and we get to see our first camp shooting star. Many things come to mind when I think about camp. All the people and friends and everyone that has made camp such a wonderful experience. Without camp, I wouldn't have my wonderful family. I wouldn't be with them if it wasn't for camp. Carrie, Sam, Max, Leora, and Aviva.
Your little bundle of joy.
Aviva, my little bundle of joy, who's going to be in a Mountain View girls' bunk this summer.
Hey, I'm new this year. Who's that guy who keeps saying hello to everybody and takes lots of pictures and wears that funny shirt?
Oh, that's Whammy. He leads hikes and runs Olympics and tells everybody the importance of second place over and over and over again.
What kind of name is Whammy?
It's his nickname. Everybody calls him that since he was 14 years old.
Do you know his real name?
Am I allowed to tell her that? I'm a little worried about Whammy being an honoree. What if he gets lost on the way to the party?
What if he tries to tell everybody the importance of second place?
I think Whammy's a perfect honoree.
Me too. Everybody knows him. He always finds ways to make camp better for the campers and the staff, and he's been at camp for about 40 years.
Nobody loves camp more than Whammy.
I went on a hike with Whammy this summer, and he made me smile, and he took a picture of me, and it was really great.
We're honoring Whammy because the campers and staff of Surprise Lake Camp really love him.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Ooh.
Camp is special to me because I met my best friends here that I hope I'll know for the rest of my life.
Camp is special to me because it's a home away from home, and all my friends are here, and it's just so much fun.
You make so many more friends.
Probably work program is the best experience, not only in camp, but of my whole life.
This is more than a camp. It's a second home for the people that were here in 1902, and now the people here. It's just a great place to be, okay?
I love camp. I guess, I don't know, I'm so thankful to have had this experience. It changed my life forever. And I come back every year because I miss it so much, and I'm just so thankful.
I am who I am today because of the way Surprise Lake Camp has made me.
My best friend, Mandy, she left, but I'm going to come next year, and I'm going to see her.
By the end of the summer, I didn't want to go home again, and we just waited for 10 months to come back up here again. It was just one of the nicest experiences of my life.
While I was in camp, I was a shallow water swimmer my first year, and Greg Kaufman and Murray Latner really taught me how to swim.
Me and John met here 30 years ago, still best friends. As a matter of fact, he was in my wedding and I got married in 1992 right over there by the lake.
And I met my wife here, and we've been married for 18 years now. It's a pretty amazing place.
Yeah, a lot of good memories.
And developed my love of nature here. And it's a very special place. A lot of great memories, great music, great hiking.
I think the best job in camp right now is probably Jordan's, because he gets to just talk about how great the place is over and over and over again.
And together we'll be in a wonderful, wonderful world.